let me know when you're ready.
Yes, I think we can start. Hi, everyone. I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Yvonne. I'm a career advisor at the Bridge Career Services. I'm one of the career advisors. And if you are new to the Bridge, what we do is we work with young professionals like yourselves and help them identify opportunities such as jobs and internships or projects to participate in and grow themselves as young professionals and grow their careers. We focus mostly on recent graduates to help them launch their careers here in Rwanda. And we are a partnership of 3 different programs, Bruce Rwanda, Gashua Girls Academy, and University of Nebraska-Lincoln. That's a little bit about us. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Lydia Ngabire, who's been working with us for over a year now. Lydia works at RDB, and she has been a great help this last year in helping us understand how we can use LinkedIn in our day-to-day work, in recruitment, but also as people who advise young people who are trying to put their best foot forward in looking for opportunities and be competitive in job market. In that regard, Lydia will be, of course, leading us today in the different aspects of the LinkedIn platform as a tool, but also just how you can become a stronger candidate as you're looking for a job. Lydia, I'll let you introduce yourself and then we can get started.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hope everyone can hear me well and clear. So I am Lydia Ngabire. I work at RDB, been there for about a year and a few months now. I work as a labor market matching specialist, and that's just a short term to mean that what I do actually at RDB is look at the supply side of skills and then the demand side of skills needed for us to meet. So we look at what employers are looking for, and also in the education as a skills development program, what can they be met? And where that is really important for an organization like RDB, you know very well that it's all about attracting investors. It's all about ensuring that our country is prospering, and our country can't prosper without its people. So we need to upskill our people. Our people need to be competitive enough. So that's why the skills office is really important and plays a key role, and that's why it sits at RDB, knowing that with over 12 million people that Rwanda has, those are 12 million, actually more than that, resources. So if we can utilize those resources, our country stands a better chance. So that's what I do. I went to Belhaven University, which is in Mississippi, and I got a presidential scholarship to get there. Did my biological studies, added on global studies. That was wonderful. So I know many of the Bridge scholars are abroad or have been abroad, and just in the chat box, if you can let me know. If you're not in the country, let me know which state you're in, so that I can see if I can relate. Right? I think that's my brief introduction, Yvonne, unless if I've left out something, and then you can let me know.
That is a great start, and anyone, of course, can. I'm going to encourage everyone here tonight, if you have questions, you don't have to wait till the end of her presentation or at the end of our dialogue to ask these questions. Type your questions, and at the end, we'll have, we'll open up for everyone to ask her directly. So they could ask you about your background, about your specific role, and about LinkedIn, of course. But that's a great start. We can jump right into it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I'll go ahead and start just from your experience working at RDB and now with getting familiar with the power of LinkedIn and the job market. How important do you find LinkedIn for the job market in Rwanda?
So this is very interesting because the Chief Skills Office actually sought out LinkedIn and thought this would be a really good tool. And it's like a whole project where the main idea was to learn from LinkedIn how we can also provide homegrown solutions and just to understand how LinkedIn works. Now, LinkedIn is very powerful in that it's a professional platform globally. And why it's very important, actually, I feel like it came at a really important time where COVID came and most of the things were going digital. And I also think that if it wasn't for COVID, maybe we would have been having this conversation in person, but now we're hosting it virtually. Now, why LinkedIn is very important is because it's the #1 professional network, which allows you to holistically express yourself as a professional. So it doesn't limit who you are. And so it's digital and it's available to everyone. So if you put your skills up on the platform, you can be easily found. And if a recruiter is looking for skills, they can easily find them there. So that's why I think it's very important.
As a follow-up to that about the job market in Rwanda, what do you think the engagement level of Rwandans is on LinkedIn?
So currently we have over 260,000 Rwandans on LinkedIn, and comparing that to at least an estimate of the number of professionals that we have in the country, even outside the country, that's not enough. However, this is why this project was created, and this is why it's very important in that we need to get more people on there. However, after this long time that I've been using the tool, you find that it's really helpful when you're reaching out to people. They do respond. Like the people who are on LinkedIn, they're actually active, which is really good. Personally, I've made so many great connections, and it's I think it's one step that has even helped me establish my brand. You find people associating me with a particular subject, but that's because of LinkedIn. You can't necessarily build that on many other platforms, let's say Facebook or Twitter. It's a different story. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. And now thinking of, that is a very small number. It's great to start, but that is a small number, especially for a growing population and one that is heavily, youth. What advice, just from people who are here, what advice do you have about, one, seeing that presence growing stronger, not just having a profile on LinkedIn and checking every 3 months, but also truly engaging with people?
So I think one of the things that really needs to happen is that if you are on LinkedIn, there are a few things that you need to do to get the most out of the platform. One, you have to be consistent. Actually, that's not the first one. The first one is to add quality information, like valid information about yourself as a professional. And I think we'll go to talk about that, different sections that you need to understand and know as a professional. That means that your profile picture is there and it's valid. Sometimes if you do go on a LinkedIn account and you see a LinkedIn account without a picture, you're like, is this person even real? Right?
Yeah.
But but if someone is, you see a proper picture, very well defined, clear background, and then added information to say, like, they have a headline, they have the about section, they've added in their work experience, it reaffirms and it validates that person as a professional. Because if you can't actually tell someone's LinkedIn profile and what kind of candidate you expect them to be, or what kind of resume you expect to get, because if they are not so well organized a public platform, how are they going to appear on a resume that only appears when it's asked for?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in that format. So you have to add quality information, valuable information, like important information. Don't lie. What is there, the skills you like, make sure you build that profession, and then contribute to discussions. Let's say if someone shared a post, make sure that they comment, or you can like, or if you have an opinion, it better be a good opinion or professional opinion.
Yeah.
So you add information and then you engage in conversation. When you're done engaging in conversation, because then as you engage, people see what kind of thoughts that are coming your way.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is adding value. So you share your knowledge or your thoughts, maybe not so much feelings, but your thoughts, professional thoughts. If you're working on a particular project and it led you to a certain discovery, or you got an insight, it's very exciting. You share that. Now people will start to engage with what you shared, and that's how you keep building on. And then the other thing that you have to make sure is you build your network. So if you have a friend you went to college with, add them to your network. Have a colleague. You aspire to be like, a particular profession in a field. You may not ask them to be your, you may not connect with them, but you can follow them. So actually there are two different things. Sometimes you can follow someone and not connect with them, which that means that when they share content, you still see it. So you can choose to follow someone who inspires you in a particular field. You follow different industries and companies that you intend maybe to work for or that you admire. So you build that, and then the other thing is you have to check it constantly, because there are some people that you write to on LinkedIn and they'll get back to you after a month. That's not professional at all. And it's very simple. You can just spend 5 minutes on LinkedIn a day, and you'll be able to see what's going on. And I know at first it can be really overwhelming because LinkedIn has so many so much content, so many professionals sharing their knowledge, their industry expertise, and you may feel like you don't have what to share, but just take your time and observe what's going on. If you get 5 minutes a day or 2 minutes a day, scroll through. It's very easy. You can have it on your phone. Just scroll through and see what's going on. And then later you pick up the pace. Yeah.
I actually have follow-ups to what you just said. That was incredible. Specifically about the connections that we make. So yes, we can follow people, but should we, when apparently, so if I'm let's say an employer and I'm looking to hire you, I'll look at your connections. Should we be picky about who we allow to connect with us or who we reach out to? Is there a strategy to that?
Absolutely, because you do not want to connect with each and every person. It's not. You have to be strategic. One, you can connect with people. Yes, you went to school with, people and then specifically people in your industry. Let's say if you're into tourism, you can connect with people who are in that lane. Now, sometimes you are in an you can start following that. As a professional, you have to be in mind. You have to bear in mind and control your group, your network, because again, the people that you connect with determines the kind of information you're going to get. I hope you can hear me. Good. Okay. Yeah. So if I connect with you, Yvonne, that means that I'm going to be receiving content that you share. Now, if we are not in the same industry, let's say I'm doing agriculture and you're all the way into, let's say, construction, like it's not going to add value to, have you in my network because we don't match. It's not also viable to connect with people that you do not know. That's why personally, anytime someone sends me a connection request, I first look at their profile, and I'm sure they all see it that I've looked at their profile. I need to first verify what kind of person you are, and then I try to see what commonality. And sometimes it's not that I'm going to gain something from the person connecting with me. Sometimes I'm going to give something. So if it's like a student that is trying to connect with me because I know I like talking about career development, I like talking about how you become a better profession, I want to look at the students. I don't want to connect with the student. No, I will connect with them, because when I connect with them, then they'll be able to see the content I share. So you kind of build your audience. You don't want to shut down your audience. If you're trying to also create a brand, know your customers, bring them in. So I have that covers it.
It does. Thank you so much. I think especially if you created your LinkedIn account, let's say very early on at university or maybe even out of high school, connections isn't something we were paying attention to. So we just connected with everyone. But it's now we will be a little more intentional in creating or seeking out these connections. So another follow-up to something important that you touched was the wording. So the content you're putting out there. So the summary. And this, I think I'm guilty of this. And I think a lot of people are guilty of this. So how important is the information we're presenting? I've seen LinkedIn profiles where they just list what they do. Just the title and where they work. I've seen LinkedIn profiles where there's a long summary and each position has a long summary. Is there also a downside to just having so much content? How do we strike that balance?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, there definitely has to be a balance, and it also depends on if you're a job seeker, or so LinkedIn is for job seekers. It's also for business people, and also for it has different audiences. Now, if you're going to be there as a professional seeking a career, or advancing through, you have to be very intentional with the way you structure your profile. You don't want to put too much, and also because LinkedIn it's kind of your living resume. It's a living you as a professional. So you don't have to limit it to say, because the way it's very different from a resume, in that a resume, when you write it, you have a position you're targeting in mind. So you're like, okay, I'm applying for this position. So what have I done in the past that relates to this? So you pick and choose, and it's straight to that direction. Now, LinkedIn is very open, which means it allows you to show the different spheres of yourself. And as a professional, you can't be different things. You're capable of being different things at once. You can be a writer and as well as a profession in a different field. You can be a doctor and also a writer, and maybe writing content about the medical field. So you can have several careers at once. And now what LinkedIn does, it helps you portray all that in one go. Now, you do not want to put when you're structuring your LinkedIn, where you put experience, you don't want to copy paste what is in your job description. That's not cool. It just doesn't speak that you've thought about it. Because again, if you're targeting to reach a particular point, some of the best way to go is point out your achievements from your previous experience. If you've been, let's say, a salesperson, how many sales were you able to make in a particular quarter? And how that helped the company that you're working for advance or move forward or come to a different realization, because it shows then that you're an advancing person, or you're achieving. And so there are also different ways you can know what you're going to put on your profile, especially when it comes to keywords. Keywords are very important, because if you're, and there are different areas that you can find these keywords, because as a recruiter, you, when a recruiter is looking for, let's say, software engineer, they're not going to say team lead, or I don't know, hardworking, successful or determined. Those are not the kind of words they're going to put in there. No, they're going to look for a software engineer. And also the key skills that this software engineer has to have. Is it JavaScript? Is it like those skills? They're the ones that they're looking for. Now, there are different ways that you can find these keywords. I don't know if I entered into a different question, right?
No, keep going.
It's the same question. Yeah. Okay, good. So yeah. I'll give you at least 3 places where you can find these keywords. One is LinkedIn itself. Now, if you are going to apply for a software job, or if you're starting to be a software engineer, go on LinkedIn and check out software engineer and search on people. It will bring up software engineers. Now look at their profiles and see the kind of words they've included. And that will tell you what keywords you also need to include in your profile. And then the other place you can find keywords is on a job post. So if a job was published, they do have, say, the skills and requirements. They have in the keywords. So if it's a software engineer, they say, this, you have minimum years of this and that, and experience in this and this skill. So there you find the keywords that you have to put on your profile, so that when a recruiter is looking for you, they will spot you out. The other place that you can find keywords is the website, a company website. Let's say you're going to work in a telecom company, and let's say, for example, MTN, you can go on their website and look around and see, okay, what kind of people have they employed? What keywords are presented on their profile? What are they trying to achieve? So that will guide you on the specific words you need to use so that you can be picked up. Your profile can show up when someone searches for you. I think that answers the question, Yvonne.
It does. Actually, that specific point about having the right words and employers not being able to pick you up is, at least with our experience at the Bridge, is something that is still lacking. We're hoping to see. We know there's so much talent out there. There's a lot people can contribute, but we sometimes struggle to find these people on LinkedIn because those keywords are missing. That's an incredible point to make. I'm going to pause here and just open it up. I have very many questions. Lydia knows this, but I want this to be a dialogue. So if anyone has a question right now, please unmute your microphone or just raise your hand, or even just chat, just send us any comments, any questions in the chat box. Anyone?
As we're waiting on the questions, if I can share my PowerPoint presentation, Yvonne.
That would be great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, just so people know what exactly we're talking about. So I had this presentation, and I'll just go through. I hope you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I will brush to. So this is how the LinkedIn profile looks like. You have the profile picture, which is right here. And I forgot to mention that when you're writing your name, please write your full name, and remember to start your name with a capital letter, because the small details can throw a recruiter really far away when you don't get the small content right. If you write your name in a particular, a not so professional way, it makes someone question who you are. And then when you go to the headline, so some people prefer using their title as a headline. Let's say I'm a talent acquisition, you put that. But sometimes you want to describe yourself holistically. For example, I chose to, instead of using my labor market matching specialist title, I chose to use a skills development and employment promotion as my headline, because I do not only do matching, I also strategize. If we have this data coming in and, you know, recruiters are complaining about not being able to find the talents, I have to sit down and strategize and say, well, how can this, you know, be met? So you need to position yourself as a well-rounded person, because even when you're given a job description, you don't only do one thing, so you do so many things. Now, if you can find good ways that describe there's so many things that you do in a few words, that works as a headline. And now when you look at a summary is a place that gives you room to express yourself, show your interests, brag about your achievements, and as well as, you know, show some attachments if you've been part of a panel discussion, if you've had a project, if you've worked on a project, you can add in a link there to show that, you know, to show the different ways the different person you are. Now, in the summary section, that's where you add you as a person, your years of experience, your aspirations, your passions, and everything. But also remember, you can also add in here the keywords. Find a nice way to put them there. Don't just randomly put, you know, a JavaScript as JavaScript and throw it in there. It has to be in a structured manner. So when someone reads it, they can, you know, get a sense of it. And then we have the experience. That's where you put in the company and it shows that's where you put in your title. Then here, where you go into details of describing that, like I said, stay away from copy pasting your job description. Instead, put in your achievements, how you've been supportive, and you know, something that shows that you've been actively engaged and productive in your job. Let me try to move this grid. Yes, and then work examples. That's just like, you know, the descriptions here. You can add in a link if you've worked on a particular project. And then you can see education is where you add in your university, and then as well as, just a moment, you add in your university, and you can also add in the different clubs you've been part of, and the different courses that you found really insightful and you've taken, because you may just say, okay, Bachelor of Journalism, but what is in there? Try to say some scripts you wrote, maybe, because that helps to add in more keywords into your LinkedIn profile. Yeah, I think I'll stop sharing and then take some questions. Yvonne, do we have some?
Yes, we do. We have a question from Ada Ireva. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right. If they want to read out their question, please unmute your microphone. But I can also just read the question. Hello? Okay, looks like we have a hand raised. I'll just go ahead and read the question. Okay. It states, I just lost the question. Give me a second. Here it is. I wanted to ask if it's professional to connect or enter your LinkedIn account with your Gmail account, connect or link your LinkedIn account with your Gmail account. That's from Ireba.
Yeah, because again, when you're signing up for LinkedIn, it does ask you for a Gmail account or an email account so that it's linked. What that actually helps is, let's say, when a recruiter reaches out to you, as some people do not check LinkedIn regularly, but you also get a copy of the message in your Gmail or your email. So that's why it's also important. It's also good to link it with your Gmail account, because then it also affirms your authenticity to show that you're human, you're there, you exist. So it's another way of verifying that your account is valid. Yeah.
Great. We have questions from Diane. Diane, I think you were the first person to raise your hand. Please go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Diane.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Lydia for a great presentation. It's an opportunity to get someone to talk about how to get connection on LinkedIn. My question is about what tips could you give someone to grow from just clicking connect with Lydia? You know, I think it goes beyond just clicking on the button of connect, but how do you maintain even that connection you're asking to that person you're interested in? I know you connect with people that are in line with the career that you want to pursue, but at some point you don't have an idea, what should I talk about? Even though probably they say I'm in agriculture, I'm connecting with people who are in the same career of agriculture, but at some point you don't have an idea of what to talk about, or how should you maintain that connection for it to move from one step to another? What tips could you give about that? Thank you.
Great question, Diane. So it's a process. If you connect with someone, you can choose to inbox them, check on them. But the best way to stay in the minds of your connection is by sharing content. Now, there are different ways of getting content to share. Sometimes, let's say if I'm connected to Yvonne and Yvonne shares a really interesting content like post, I may like it, so I can choose to reshare it and then share my insight. So what that means is that the people that I'm connected to, they will see what I'm thinking, and they will also they may choose to engage with my post. It's not necessarily that every time you come up with content to share by yourself, you may reshare content from someone else in your network. And also it's also very flattering when you see someone has shared your content, you see, so it brings that connection. You see, it's like, oh, Diane read my post and they liked it and they shared, and oh, that's what they thought about my content. Interesting. So you can stay on that saying, okay, you posted and they liked it and they took it forward. Now you may want to continue the discussion depending on what the post was about, and you can choose to go to take it inbox. So I really liked the way you thought about the content I posted. How do you think? I would like us to catch up and let's explore this further. You could also ask a question, state it out there, say, I'm trying to work on this project, I would like to get ideas on how to make it really I'm collecting ideas. So, and then people start contributing to that, to the questions that you've asked. That also helps you maintain that momentum. You just need to be consistent. Don't just come 3 months later and then post and expect people to engage with you. Also, if you haven't got a good following, or if you have like 10 to if you've just connected, you won't get that reaction. But that's why it's important that you comment or like or share other people's posts and share your ideas. That's where you find someone who has a common thinking or who thinks like you and they want to connect with you. And that's how you keep on building your network.
Yeah, that was a great answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diane, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Germaine Rwanda, looks like you have a question too. Please unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Thank you very much. As you mentioned, my name is Germaine Akeza from Rwanda. I am a American student. I'm honored to be here, and thank you very much, Lydia, for this great presentation. Going straight to the question, I have a few questions about the LinkedIn. I'm wondering about the content, because if it's a LinkedIn profile, you might have your personal LinkedIn profile and a business LinkedIn profile. And for a personal LinkedIn profile, about the post, because in order to catch up with those people in your connection, you have maybe to know your content. How do you manage your content on personal level? Because if it's personal, you're not gonna mix it with company or your project posts. So I would like to know more about the content to the level of the personal level, because if it's a personal level, you normally maybe have to put your achievements or something you're interested in, and that's not going to be something of every day, every week, like that. And the next thing is about how do you keep in touch with the people you connected with in a way that you breed your profile. And again, how about the what the people think about the profile picture, what the profile picture of the LinkedIn should look like. And the last thing is, here in Rwanda, most of the job application form or some criteria, they don't consider social media as something to consider. So what's your perspective in maybe in Rwanda, in sector of job or internship? How do they, we raise awareness of maybe marketing yourself through LinkedIn so that you can get a job or internship here in Rwanda? Thank you.
Great, so many great questions, Jermaine. So let me start with the last one. Actually, you may be surprised. Most of the recruiters check out your LinkedIn accounts or your social media standing, especially if you're going in for an interview, or someone may be, I've talked to most of the recruiters and they do check out your social media standing. And that's also another thing that we have to be mindful that the content you're putting out there, does it represent you as a profession? Because if you're into, sometimes social media could hurt your career, sometimes it can promote it. So you have to be wise about the way you use it. So far, I know that so far when we've gone through this project, actually more than 30 people have been hired through LinkedIn. That's actually from the account that I hold. We reach out to people and people respond and they go on to having an interview and they end up being hired. And you will be surprised that there are some jobs actually out there that are not advertised, but then they are recruited for. So if you're going to wait for a job to be advertised, it may be too late. That's why it's very important that you're present. And actually, LinkedIn helps you to be present so that the recruiter is the one who's coming for you and you're not going after a recruiter. Because there's so many people who are running to the recruiter. If the hiring managers put their job post, it's going to receive over hundreds of thousands of applications. Now, if a recruiter is going to put out a post and is like, how about I check out on LinkedIn who would be the suitable people for this post? Sometimes they may choose not to advertise the post, but they find people to hire. Because the recruiter won't come and say, hi, Andrew, can I have your resume? I'm thinking we are recruiting. Can I look at your resume? No, it's not. Because again, you have your resume in the back of your computer. It hasn't been updated in a long time. So, but when they go out on their own and they put in the keywords, the words that they're looking for, and they find that you have these qualifications, they will be the ones reaching out to you. That's why it's really important that you have that online presence. I think the question you asked about engaging your network so that it's beyond, I think I tried to respond to that. You have to share content. You can even just reach out to the people in your network and just like, hey, it's nice connecting with you. I would like to learn more. So you actually see what actually will help you is you look at someone's profile and find something that you can talk to them about. So if you know that Yvonne is into recruiting and career advising, you go to their profile, look at that, and say like, oh, I see you've been recruiting. How can you advise me to move forward? So that's a conversation. And then it actually helps you. Next time Yvonne is recruiting, she'll have you in mind because she's ever given advice to you on how you should progress in your career. Am I forgetting any other question? Or was it all?
Yeah, the first one was about the content. Like I was saying the difference between the personal LinkedIn profile. Okay.
Yeah, and the company. So there are two ways. On LinkedIn, you can create a personal account and then also create a company page. Now, what you want to do as a professional, if you have I don't know if you mean in terms of having a business or working for a particular company. How do you mean like a personal and a business company?
A personal profile LinkedIn is that your name and all about you. And I was wondering the content, because you've said that a content is something that you have to share so that you can keep in touch with your network. And I was wondering, like, for personal, the content that you have to share is sort of about your achievement or something that you're currently in, and that's not something that's going to be every day or for a week. So how are you going to manage the content? Because maybe for the company you can have daily post or weekly post, but for personal LinkedIn profile it's not easy. So how can you use your personal LinkedIn profile to again still get in touch with your network, not only through the post? It's all about the content, if you got me.
So this is what you need to do. Also, you don't need to post daily because that can makes your network overwhelmed. However, you need to be consistent. You can space it out. Try posting once a week, 2 times a week. If you have that much content, 3 times, that would be too much in a week. Now, if you can have a post this week, next week, the other week. Now, there are so many ways you get content. So sometimes maybe you've had a conversation with a colleague and that led you to thinking into something, having an idea. You can post about that. And I said, if you see an interesting post a friend in your network has shared, you can post that. Or a company has shared a particular post, you can also share that and share your opinion on that as well. If your friend has graduated or they have achieved a particular thing, maybe they've graduated or got a new job and you know them very well, you can share about that. It's like, hey, I'm so happy that you've got this. I really appreciate your hard work and your skills. Now that acts actually like a recommendation and it validates the person that you've posted. So what that means is that you're giving the other person a recommendation. You're giving, and that's what actually is more important. You're not just receiving content what other people have shared. You're also giving and sharing and adding credibility to your network. How is that?
Yeah, that's great. Actually, that you've touched on a very important part. Yeah.
Okay.
About endorsements, recommendations. Yeah, actually, I was going to ask that question, but thank you for doing that, Germaine.
Yeah. We also have any chat? Yeah.
From Rukunda Christian, and he says, I also want to ask if it's professional to put your documents on LinkedIn, like certificates. For example, if you say that I have covered a certain course in a certain sector, do you have to post your documents on your profile to make them believe it, or is it not professional to do so?
It is professional to do so because that's your professional achievement. If you've got a certification in a particular post, by all means, post it, share it. You don't have to, you choose. It's your personal decision. You choose to share it. And what actually that also helps you, because whatever certification, you have to write something about it and say something, what skills have you gained in the certification, because they get also picked out, you know, by the recruiter and say, okay, this person has a certification in, it's a CPA, so it will be picked out, so it works in your favor. Yeah.
Perfect. And we have a question from Claude Nyomugabo. My question is, if someone wants to share good content, what are strategies so that those content can reach many people? How can someone turn LinkedIn into a marketing platform and become successful in Rwanda? Is it feasible?
It's very feasible. So you can choose to get the LinkedIn premium subscription where you know your post is, you know, promoted and all that. But sometimes I don't recommend that because it's, you know, it's expensive for one. Unless your business is really doing good and you can afford that budget for advertisement, please by all means consider that. Now, the other method that you can use to get more people viewing your post is using the hashtags. So there are different hashtags. If you posted about career development, there's hashtag career development, and everyone who follows that hashtag will be able to see your post, and they can choose to comment, and you know, it gives it more reach. You can also search the different hashtags and see how many people follow that hashtag. Yourself can also follow different, you know, the different hashtags that are available. So when you include that hashtag, it's like a Twitter hashtag. When you include the, you know, something, you're inviting in people who follow that particular content, and they'll also be able to see that. The other thing is also to build your network. Also, if you're posting content which is about someone, it can help you, you know, be seen, because when you say at particular person, let's say at Yvonne, if I tag, you know, someone or a particular company, whoever follows that company or whoever follows that person, they also get a notification that Yvonne has been tagged in a particular post, and they will see it. So those are the different strategies you can use. You can please only tag them if it relates to them. Don't just tag someone because you want to get your advertisement out there. It has to be relevant. And then, so you can use the hashtag, and then you can tag someone. The other way is also paying for, you know, sponsored content on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Great. Actually, that was someone had asked previously and I missed it. Alvin had asked whether it's worth paying for a premium subscription for your account. If it's actually not just, let's say, a business and you're not just trying to market and reach people, if it's just a personal account, is it worth it paying a premium subscription?
Well, it really depends on what you're looking for, because I personally I've had both the free version and also the premium. I've noticed that you can achieve more without the premium. So what the premium adds, it gives you insights, and let's say if you're trying to apply for jobs, and to tell you where your standing is and how many people have applied and where you stand, in comparison to the other people, and what skills they have that you don't have, or maybe what skills you have that are making you stand out. The subscription also gives you access to LinkedIn Learning. Now, LinkedIn Learning is a really great tool. Because they have really great content. Yeah, they do have really great content. I can give it to them. Now, if you're interested into, exploring what there is, in LinkedIn Learning, by all means, pay the subscription. But in terms of adding, more value to that, no. As a student, I wouldn't advise you to go for premium, because it's, no. It's you can do much more with just the free version without the subscription.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Alvin. We have, I think, another question from Neon Shuti. Good evening. I have two questions here. I wonder if Rwandan recruiters hire people through LinkedIn. We do.
There you go.
Yeah. What can you do to make recruiters take a step and reach out to you? I'm sorry if you answered this. We haven't touched this yet. But yeah, do we recruit using LinkedIn, and what can you do to get them to reach out to you?
So I think Yvonne is one of the recruiters and she uses LinkedIn, so she can tell you.
We do
She can
heavily,
tell
we
you.
heavily depend on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, the Rwandan recruiters actually use LinkedIn, and you can also see it when you go to LinkedIn and that section that has jobs. You can see the different jobs that are being posted in Rwanda by Rwandan recruiters, and when you apply, you can get through. And I've actually also been contacted by recruiters looking to offering job openings. So what you actually need to focus on as you is building your brand as you, what distinguishes you. Make sure you're having the keywords that we mentioned about, and make sure that your profile is really structured in a nice way that it gives you the right footage. It shows you who you really are as a profession. When you read your profile, does it say, yes, that's me, or no, I'm not so sure who this person is? And while you learn that, is actually you learn from the different people. Check out different people's LinkedIn profiles. It's free. No one is going to, people will notice that you've checked them out, but it's, again, you're learning. So look at them and learn. It's like, okay, I want to be a CEO. Let me see how many CEOs are here and what do they have in their profile? What do they have that I have, that we do have in common? Is it a skill? Is it a leadership skill? Is it a strategy skill? Analytics, report writing? Do I have that? Okay, where do I position that? Okay, if I don't, how can I, get a certification in that? So it gives you a projection, and that's the way to go. And yes, they do really use LinkedIn. And I've had so many recruiters say, oh yeah, we recruited this person from LinkedIn. So it's a tool that you need to use, and especially that we're in the digital era. There are no longer, many conferences that are happening that you're going to network. So making your footage right on a digital platform is really what's going to help you a step ahead.
I totally agree. Just briefly, from my personal experience, our personal experience as the Bridge, we actually reached out to a professional like Lydia, because we've used LinkedIn and we depend on it to fill different positions. However, as I mentioned very early on, sometimes, there are so many people out there and there's a lot they can offer, but we can't find them on LinkedIn, even though we know their existence, which is why we reached out to see, can we grow the engagement of Rwandans, young professionals on LinkedIn? Can we find them for these great opportunities? So I'm going to take one last question. However, so we have just a few minutes before the session ends. If you have a last short question, please type it, or maybe raise your hand and I'll see you. And I think I have a clarification from Marie Merci, and she's saying, I want to ask about how to choose connections to accept, and do the connections you have sometimes affect your chances of your invite acceptance to someone else? Or like your connection, to clarify, do you mean let's say if you connect with someone, will it affect how the other connections you're seeking out respond to your invite? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. So you definitely have the power of choosing who you connect with and who you don't. And I don't think it would necessarily affect, you having a particular person in your network. It would affect the other person. Actually, on a positive note, it actually helps. Let's say if I connect with, let's say, Diane, and I see she's connected with someone else, I'm like, oh, nice, they know each other. I can choose actually to ask. I'm like, hey, I went to school with James. Do you know the James? I see him in your connections. And then you start, a conversation there. And actually, it's even very, I see it very often, especially in Rwanda, because Rwanda is very small. You go to connect with someone and you almost see that, you have so many mutual connections in the pipeline. So I think it actually even helps you, get go in a wider space. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do we have any last questions? I'll give just a few seconds. Any last questions or just comments for Lydia?
Comments from me?
For you, like if they have any comments. I don't think we do. I'll just give you the time to just make your last comments or any suggestions, advice for the wonderful people with us today.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure connecting with you all, and I can see, I know for sure I've received some connection requests, so I'll do accept your your connection. Now, what I said, please remember, make your profile visible. Don't forget your profile picture, add it in there, your headline, fill out all the sections so that you're credible. It adds to your credibility as a profession. Now, you remember to use the keywords, and remember the 3 places we talked about where you can find those keywords: job postings, other people's profiles, and company websites. Those will really help you in making your profile stand out to the recruiters. So be visible, use it consistently, use LinkedIn consistently, post, share, comments, connect with people who you feel can benefit from the content that you're sharing, and also from people that connect with people who you benefit from. So professionally, be in that space, and you can always unfollow people if you find that someone in your connection isn't adding value to you as a profession. You can choose to unfollow them. They won't know, and it won't hurt. It helps your mental health and it helps you sleep better. It helps your professional journey. So any person that is not feeding you the right content, you can always unfollow them. That gives you room to bring in professionals, or follow company or pages that feed you and help you grow as a profession. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Thank you everyone who has contributed, who has attended the session with us. Your questions have actually gone past what we were hoping to talk about, so that has enriched this conversation. Thank you very much. And we always have great conversations like this where we invite experts like Lydia who are inspiring and who have so much that can contribute, that can push you as an individual and as a community of Rwandans. So please check our emails out, click on the links. Our comms team, shout out to Alvin, always put together great events like these, and they're COVID safe. So please join us as often as you can. And if you haven't noticed, this is being recorded. So we will be sharing, since you signed up, we have your email. So we will be sharing this recording if you want to go back and, work through your LinkedIn profile, or if you want to share with other people who could not join us this evening. Lydia, thank you so much for always honoring our invitation. I know you have trained us on LinkedIn several times this past year alone, and we truly appreciate that. It impacts our work. It really impacts the lives of those we work with. So truly grateful. Thank you, guys.
Sure. It was a pleasure.
Top of the hour now, actually 8 minutes past, so we will have to wrap up. But if you have any questions, someone has actually shared their email, which is great. So we will be able to reach out. So this recording will be shared with everyone who actually joined us anyway. So you'll be able to go back and learn some more. Lydia, thank you for being with us.
It was a pleasure being with you. Have a good one. And thank you everyone for attending. It was a great time talking to you all. Bye.
Goodbye. Stay safe, everyone.